Talks. I'm Cathy Yang, your intel on the Philippine markets and the economy. In the headlines, President Marcos meets with Bangko Sentral Governor Eli Remolona to discuss monetary policy and economic outlook. The peso recovers, the search for havens amid renewed tariff threats from U.S. President Donald Trump, with Mike Ricofort, chief economist at RCBC. And riding out the economic slowdowns through athleisure and activewear with a health and price-conscious Filipino consumer. In conversation with Penshoppe Group's Vice President Brandon Liu. Bangko Sentral Governor Eli Remolona Jr. briefed President Marcos yesterday on monetary policy and growth prospects for the Philippines. Malacanang said the president and Remolona discussed the BSP's latest actions to reduce policy rates and the country's economic outlook. The palace did not mention, though, if both officials tackled the peso's recent weakness. Remolona sees the central bank's easing cycle nearing its end as inflation ticks up. Since it began in August 2024, the BSP has reduced its key interest rate by 200 basis points to just 4.5%. Remolona recently said one more cut is possible this year, barring worse-than-expected economic growth. Meanwhile, Malacanang anticipates economic growth to recover within 2 years, citing projections from the World Bank. The multilateral lender reported in December that private consumption would rise if inflation is stable, employment remains strong, and interest rates are low. The World Bank trimmed its growth forecast for the Philippines until 2027, figures that are lower than the government's 6 to 7% target for 2026 to 2028. The Philippine economy is expected to grow by 5.3% this year, driven by robust domestic demand, although private investment risks remain and the corruption scandal. In its regional outlook, the ASEAN +3 Macroeconomic Research Office, or AMRO, kept its 2026 GDP growth forecast for the Philippines at 5.3%. That's unchanged from its earlier forecast in November. The figure is still within the government's revised 5 to 6% growth target for the year. AMRO chief economist Dong He said growth remains steady, but there are some headwinds against the outlook on the investment side. If realized, the Philippines would be the second fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia, behind Vietnam and ahead of Cambodia, Singapore, and Thailand. The country's expected GDP growth would also top the regional average of 4.6% for 2026. For 2025, Ambrose said the Philippine economy likely grew by 5.2%, falling short of the government's target. That's after a fairly weak third-quarter performance prompted forecast downgrade. The Foreign Buyers Association of the Philippines says a weaker peso against the U.S. dollar can help some Philippine exporters, but warned it is a double-edged sword. The group's president, Robert Young, says a falling peso can make local products more competitive globally, as exporters may offer lower free on-board prices. But he noted that the Philippines is highly import-dependent, meaning many exporters still rely on imported raw materials, so they end up paying more pesos for dollar-priced inputs. Young also warned that sharp currency movements create volatility risks, making business planning more difficult. He added that the biggest benefit goes to exports with little to no imported component, such as handicrafts, agriculture, and minerals. Joining us this morning is RCBC's chief economist, Mike Ricofort. Good to see you, Mike. Welcome back to the program.
Morning, Cathy, and nice to be back.
Okay, it looks like the peso strengthening at the open.
Yeah, it is. It opened at 59.18, reach high of 59.20, and now it's doing at 59.168. So it's actually the low now as of the morning is 59.148, so it's trading near the low. So compared to yesterday's 59.261, this is already the strongest for the peso in more than 2 weeks.
It looks like it
So
because we were never in that zone when we last talked. But what is the bigger driver now? Is it developments here or overseas?
actually both, Kathy, because well, at least overseas, there's a sigh of relief in the markets after Trump came up with a more conciliatory tone. He's backing out of his previous threats on higher tariffs in Europe in view of Greenland, and he ruled out military action as well. So that's one. And secondly, locally, we have seen also moves, recent developments that support pertaining to good governance standards. The justice system has been moving with some recent arrest, those involved in the allegedly anomalous flood control project. So that's also kind of taken positively, Kathy, those progress and developments pertaining to that when it comes to the anti-corruption measures and governance standards. And now going forward, the markets are looking forward to, if indeed the proposed priority legislative measures to further uplift and level up the governance standards of the country. As mentioned by the president last December 9, the anti-dynasty bill, the reforming the party system, and the creation of an independent People's Council, as well as the cadena that would further increase transparency and accountability for government spending. So these are very important reform measures, Kathy. The only
Sure. So
thing
is
that
it
would
50-50 right now, or do you think more in favor of the local developments, more than international developments in the next couple of hours or days?
I'll be both, Kathy, because
So it's
well,
equal. So we have to
yeah,
watch both what happens here and overseas.
yeah, but hopefully, the two impeachment complaints would not somewhat distract and take away some of the time, focus, and attention and energy of the legislators, and instead focus on important reform measures, especially pertaining to improving governance standards as well as economic and fiscal reform. So those are very important things, and the attention also of the whole of government approach when it comes to doing how to further improve the economy
All right. Well,
rather
the
than being
president has
distracted.
met the good governor of the Banco Central. Do you think that there is still smoothening of that trading range every trading day that you've been watching the currency markets?
And there are manifestations to that, Kathy. Because first, the peso has been kind of relatively stable. Yeah, true, it may have went up gradually, but now it's going back again near 59. Now it's doing at 59.165. So it came from a high of 59.50. But there are signs indeed, Kathy, that as the smoothing, at least especially near the higher end, the signals have been clear. The need for measured intervention and also very clear signals, Kathy, over the past 1 to 2 months, even from the local monetary authorities, that it's been very clear. They consider speculations that the peso, on the possibility that the peso would reach senior or 60. So they dispel. The local monetary said that these are all speculations, or rather, in particular, these are superstitions. That's the exact word, superstitions, and they're more than willing to intervene to dispel these superstitions.
Yeah,
Because
but
why?
we're all looking at how the peso trades because that policy meeting is coming up in a couple of weeks. So how do you think the Banco Central will decide if indeed it wasn't looking at the peso's level when it does decide?
Well, with the peso now, it's again relatively stable in the sense that it's at familiar ranges, a little over 59. That we have seen that for almost 3 months already, Kathy, since late October. 59, a little over 59. So there's a good chance that and indeed the market may have priced in already the possibility of a PSP rate cut of 25 basis points come the next policy meeting on February 19. So that's very much possible because it's a delicate balancing act, Cathy, because it's a policy priority also of the government and the economic team.
It is.
Now to further boost and stimulate economic growth and development, given the soft GDP numbers that we saw during the third quarter, and the latest GDP number would be out come January 29. So that would be an input as well for that meeting. Or that's one of the
All right.
primary considerations for that decision, whether or not to cut rates. But more likely, cut is forthcoming and already
So many
being priced by
reasons
the markets.
to watch the markets. And yeah, it is a challenging job if you are the central bank governor. Thank you so much, Mike Ricofort of RCBC, for your insights. In other news, the Bureau of Internal Revenue is moving closer to resuming the issuance of letters of authority, or LOAs, as it rolls out reforms to overhaul its audit system. The agency has launched a 5-point reform agenda called BIR DARES, placing audit reform at the top of its priorities. DARES focuses on digital transformation, audit accountability, revenue protection, employee welfare, and improved service. BIR Commissioner Charlito Martin Mendoza said audit reform is urgent, noting that public trust in tax administration depends on how audits and assessments are carried out. The Bureau suspended LOAS last November after business groups raised concerns over audit practices. Since then, a technical review committee has been refining the new rules, now in their final stages ahead of lifting the suspension. The Securities and Exchange Commission is easing compliance rules for small firms as it exempts micro-enterprises from submitting audited financial statements. Under a new memorandum, stock and non-stock corporations with assets or liabilities of up to 3 million pesos are now exempt from mandatory audits. Previously, only firms with assets or liabilities below 600,000 pesos were exempted. SEC Chair Francis Lim said the move recognizes the realities faced by micro-enterprises, which often operate with very limited resources. With this, he said the Commission is making compliance more proportionate, allowing micro-firms to redirect their resources to growing their business. You're watching Money Talks. Catch our conversation with Brandon Liu of Golden ABC after the break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang, checking on the markets. U.S. equities rebounded yesterday after U.S. President Donald Trump backed off from his tariff threats. The Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq all rose by over 1% each. Markets cheered Trump's announcement during the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, that he has reached a new framework with NATO on Greenland. Both camps are mum on the specifics. Trump has vowed not to use force in his quest for the autonomous territory. Wresting control of Greenland and threatening tariffs have threatened the decades-long alliance between the U.S. and Europe. As for the benchmark 10-year Treasury yields, they ticked down to 4.252%, and gold prices hit another record high at $48.31 per ounce. U.S. futures are pointing to gains when the markets open later tonight Manila time. The Nasdaq is up 0.3%, S&P 500 rises by 0.2%, and the Dow climbs by 0.8%. As for the Asian markets, they're rising at the get-go this Thursday. South Korea's Kospi up 1.5%, Japan's Nikkei 225 climbing 1%, and Australia's ASX 200 advances by 0.6%. And let's take a look at our own markets, with the PSEI opening this Thursday higher by 0.1%, 6,341. The stock market dropped for the fourth straight session, closing yesterday by 0.33%. Japhet Tantiangco of PhilStocks Financial says the PSEI is tracking Wall Street's negative cues over President Trump's tariff threat on European nations, which he eventually retracted. The broader all-shares index slid by over 0.25%, with local counters a mixed bag. As for the Philippine peso, it did open stronger today, still stronger, 59.18 to the dollar. The peso recovered yesterday, closing at 59.261 against the greenback as markets unloaded their U.S. assets amid reignited trade tensions. But some traders warn the peso could weaken again ahead of the release of the U.S. GDP data. The 10-year government bond yields ticked up to 6.072% from the previous close of 6.065%. Part of the next generation helming up Golden ABC, more popularly known as the Penshoppe Group. As vice president of Penshoppe, he is now steering the family company through slower consumer demand, governance risks, and supply chain shifts due to Trump's tariffs. Well, with us now for more is Brandon Liu. Good to see you, Brandon, and
Likewise.
welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Cathy.
And congratulations on 40 years.
Yes, we'll be turning 40 years this year.
Right, so how's Dad?
He's great. He sends his regards.
Yes.
And he's been busy as executive chairman, really helping steer Golden ABC towards our vision and purpose. Aside from that, he's been busy with the holdings company, but more importantly, he's been spending a lot of time spoiling his grandchildren.
I was just going to ask about
and he's
the
been
grandkids.
pressuring for more.
Okay, because the last time we talked, he did say that the second generation's already gearing up for a very active engagement within the business. But how's it been like so far? I mean, you run the business with your brother and sister.
Yes.
And you've been navigating these shifts. We've just talked about that over the past few minutes. What to you is the biggest challenge so far?
So actually, we're in the third generation, but then so far it's been nice working with the family. Also working with our cousins, also within the Penshoppe group, and also in the other companies. I would say that we have been able to navigate well so far. We have a strong board of directors and strong board advisors and independent board that's been able to guide us through these challenging times as well.
If you would pick one, what would be the biggest challenge?
I guess coming from the pandemic, it's also being able to adapt. Things are happening now at a much faster pace. So we have, especially in Penshoppe, being a young brand, we have to stay relevant. We have to know what's relevant to our customers and really keep them at the center and adapt with them.
So what did you discover over the Christmas holiday shopping season? Because that's key.
Yes.
Especially for discretionary products.
Yes, so thankfully the Christmas season was very encouraging. We were able to prepare well, and we thank our customers for the patronage that they continue to support and show for our brands. We are looking at a very optimistic year ahead as well. We have expansion plans in the horizon, and we actually, for Penshoppe, rolled out a new store concept. So we're actually going to be renovating a lot of our stores this year. So we can expect more exciting things from the brand.
Could people have traded down? Because in a conversation earlier with the Philippine Retailers Association, Bobby Claudio, he did say that people bought more food rather than discretionaries, and that they traded down because consumer sentiment's tepid, because of all the corruption allegations, the concerns over slowing business and a slowing economy.
Well, yeah, we can see that the environment is a bit gloomy, but then I think the one trend that we do foresee and what we have been working on is really strengthening our products and our store experience. There's been a huge shift towards looking for value. So whether that's trading down or just getting your money's worth, the team is confident that we are able to provide that. So we are very bullish as well
So
for the
what
year.
is value right now? Value for money. When you say that phrase, what do people go for? What are you discovering?
So when we talk about value, it's not necessarily trading down necessarily just in terms of price, but really looking for that good ratio between price and quality to make sure that an item that you buy is sulit. So it's not necessarily just spending less, but being smarter about where you spend your money.
So where did they spend their smart money then? I mean,
Hopefully-
if it was encouraging sales for the holiday shopping season.
We'd like to think that we were able to capture some market share as well, and that it was very encouraging seeing the results from Q4, ending the year strong, and again, being very bullish about this year ahead.
Which category in particular? Because you've got a portfolio of brands, not only Penshoppe, you've got Regatta, Boku, Oxygen,
Memo and For Me, yes.
For Me.
So currently, Penshoppe is still the biggest brand in the portfolio, but then we are seeing growth from different segments. So Penshoppe caters to the youth and the mass market, but we do have the likes of Regatta and Boku that also caters to the more premium market. And we're seeing healthy growth across the board, thankfully.
So what did they buy? And what are you thinking that they might buy in 2026, given the conditions?
I think they're looking for something that they can use long term because right now, especially with fashion companies, it's something that they're looking for long term wearability. It's no longer just chasing after the next big trend, but something that really suits your personal style.
So what could that be? I mean, for Golden ABC, you've got a portfolio of brands. What have you discovered might be the way forward?
We're still, majority of our, I guess, sales are coming from apparel, but then we are adapting with the customers and we are also discovering that they're also looking for other formats, and we're actually expanding into lifestyle categories and starting with actually our, this jacket that I'm wearing is coming from our recent activewear collection. So this is a signal that we're stepping into different lifestyle categories, whether it be activewear or perhaps even other categories in the future. Stay tuned.
So I'm seeing that the Filipino consumer is not only price conscious, but also health conscious. Is that correct?
Yes, we are looking at seeing, especially with the young now, that compared to myself 10 years ago where we would go out late night with friends, we're seeing that it's also shifting to early morning runs, going up early, going for a run, coffee run, whether whether it's just for an early morning run, you're going for a walk, you're going to the mall. It's a more active lifestyle, and people are gravitating towards a more health conscious, not just physically, but mentally and even like spiritually as well.
In terms of production costs, because I presume that it's a little bit pricier when you try to produce these athleisure and activewear, how does that go into your margins, and how do you price a certain line like that to make it value for money for the customer, and at the same time preserve your margins?
So for Penshoppe, our unique selling proposition is to be able to really offer great quality products at affordable prices. So it did take a while for us to launch this product because we had a lot of prototyping in place to make sure we find the right fabrics and find the right sweet spot of pricing that we can offer to the customer. So as much as we can, we do try not to do any price increases.
So you can hold off those price increases this year?
Yes, thankfully. Yeah, so we're able to work smarter. We're looking at better raw material consolidations that allow us to really absorb as much as we can because we're in it for the long-term sustainability.
Let me pick up on the raw materials consolidation, because part of where you get your materials is overseas, and there's been supply chain disruptions because of Trump's tariffs. How has this worked to your favor? Have you found a way forward with that, with the vertical integration, maybe nearshoring, local manufacturing more of the product here?
So we did see a shift. We have been actually for the past 40 years, we have been working majority of our supplies coming from the Philippines and manufactured here. Although we do source, we know our suppliers and partners also source from China, so there is a squeeze at times. But it's not our first rodeo. We've seen that with cotton prices also increasing in the past couple of years, we've been able to navigate how to find that balance and strike that balance between local and foreign production.
Okay, we got about a minute. I know you mentioned renovations. Are you focusing in on the brick and mortar? What about your online space? Because there's that phygital
Yes.
sort of approach as well if you're in apparel.
So definitely online is equally as important, especially now with social commerce, live selling. It's such a different ball game altogether. But in the meantime, we are focusing our renovations mostly on our brick and mortar stores. We are rolling out a new store concept that would allow us to really improve the customer experience.
Would you say you'd add more staff this year?
Yeah, especially with our expansion plans, we do look like that we're going to need a bit more people.
By how many more percent, perhaps?
Hard to say. We're taking it one store at a time.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, look out in your stores and look out for this athleisure product. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Brandon.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Cathy.
it.
Thank you.
Brandon Liu of the Penshoppe Group. Well, before we go, Filipinos are now getting a real-time window to the world with the launch of Asia's very first portal sculpture. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Sixth portal is open along 5th Avenue at Bonifacio High Street in Taguig City. It features a 24/7 live video link connecting Manila to other portal sites in Lithuania, Poland, Ireland, and the US and the UK. Portal founder Benedicta Sklilis said bringing the installation to Manila reflects the city's strong sense of human connection and expands their vision of a world linked not by borders but by direct encounters. The network rotates live feeds across its global locations designed as a bridge to what Sklilis calls a united planet. Maybe we don't need planes anymore. Just step into that portal and get there. That is it for Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Catch us again tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Kapatid, we are one news, all sides, all the time. Have a great day ahead.